All right, everybody, welcome back to the Pleb Underground. I hope you're having a great day. So, are we cooked? Are we about to cook? Well, I think Sat Stacker said it best already. Bitcoin is the one who cooks, and obviously, I'm picturing the Walter White meme, right? I am the one who knocks. So it's of course, it's par for the course. Yeah, we're gonna take a look. We're gonna take a look at some narrative around that. Also, it's over. It's too late. It's Epstein. It's quantum. We're going to zero. we're gonna take a look at all of that stuff and why that's most likely not the case at all. And of course, we've got some more Bitcoin business cycle hopium. This is like I feel like this is one of the last vestiges of hopium. Please follow the business cycle. We're going to debunk some Bitcoin security budget FUD because why not, right? Since apparently since the Epstein files have been released, Bcashers and BSVers and XRP people seem to feel empowered once again, even though they're down 99% overall, and their token hasn't lived up to any of the expectations that it was supposed to and does not provide any of those qualities. But guess what? They don't have a problem in fudding Bitcoin's security budget. So we're just going to nip that in the bud very quickly. We're going to take a look at Bitcoin treasury companies. Who could have foreseen that businesses with no operating cash flows and dwindling sales can't really afford to hold Bitcoin? Man, if only there was a channel that was telling you guys that this is not good. Yep, we're going to take a look at another company that has also bent the knee. All right. The states, Illinois. Illinois is, what is it? They're proposing the Community Bitcoin Reserve Act. People are cheering about that. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, of course, but we're going to take a look at it because I don't know how many people have actually examined the wording of even maybe the first paragraph, right? Even the summary of the act. So we're going to take a look at that. And of course, guys, today is supposed to be a really big day. The banksters and the crypto lobby, they're going to meet up again, right? The banks are afraid they're going to lose their deposit yields. Stablecoin providers are super excited to be able to issue tokens out of thin air. So this ought to be an interesting conversation that they're going to have today. And the SEC has made a move to greenlight tokenization. That's right, guys. We got a whole lot to cover, and we're going to be right back. Pleb Underground is sponsored by Archimedes Emporium. Discover the pinnacle of precision engineering, starting with their Bitcoin logo wall clock, meticulously machined in Maine from a solid block of aerospace-grade aluminum, ensuring unparalleled durability and performance. Experience the difference of a product made without compromise. Head on over to Archimedes Emporium. All right. Good morning, Sat Stacker, and good morning, Johnny Midas. And yeah, that's right. For the people who don't know, right, to do this show every single day, but once a week on Mondays at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, we do Bitcoin Tonight, where essentially what we do is, we pick out the topics that we'd like to discuss that we feel have a lot of spice to them, and we go through them. And of course, we part of the fun is actually being able to join us on YouTube, join us in the chat, and post your comments. In some cases, there's people that have questions. We answer the questions. It's fun, right? It's interactive. It's not just like we're talking at people, right? We're trying to have a conversation with people. Anyways, I appreciate that, Johnny. All right, let's dive into it here. Let's see. That's right. We're going to start off with the business cycle, the business cycle hopium from Sminston. All right, this guy's got some solid hopium. He's not like that David MBA account with all the fancy compressions and the gammas and all that stuff, but still pretty good. Anyways, so the Bitcoin cycle, the business cycle may be worth paying attention to. The correlation was locked by 2016, and it's been strengthening ever since. This is an overlay of the PMI onto Bitcoin's power law trend for better visualization. That does look pretty good. Up and to the right. I don't see a problem with that. Hey, good morning, plastic. Good morning. Hey, it looks good. Why not? I'll buy it. I like the clouds. I like the formations. There you go. We can see the overall trend. Good times. That's right. Are we cooked? Or are we about to cook? What's he talking about? What is he talking about? Okay, so here we go, guys. More gold slash Bitcoin hopium. Right? This is what we are looking at right here. Okay. Now look, essentially what the correlation is saying, right? What the two charts are saying is that right now in BTC, we are technically at this point in gold where the massive run started to occur. And of course, we've been hearing this messaging. We've been hearing this messaging now for probably a couple of months, that we are soon going to follow gold. And of course, when we didn't, silver ended up following gold, but then we're 100% we're going to follow silver, right? Eventually, at some point, that will be correct. Eventually, at some point, we will follow those other assets. You got to be careful paying too much attention to all of these correlations. And the reason I say this is because back in 2022, I was, and not just 2022, but even 2021, I was also looking for things that I could throw at the wall that would stick. And one of the things that I thought I could throw at the wall that would stick was the Bitcoin hash rate. So I imagined that Bitcoin was following the hash rate. And of course, right, when we were in the bear market leading up to the bull market of 2021 or whatever it is. Sorry, Bitcoin time just screws me up. I was like, well, the hash rate keeps going up. We're bound to follow it any day now. We didn't end up following it for several months. Okay. There was really no correlation. None. So it's not to say that, hey, don't believe these people at all, but it's just to say take it with a grain of salt. Okay, it's not, or a grain of sand, whatever. Just don't place too much importance into it, right? It's just like my opinion, right? It's like I can be right, I can be wrong. At the end of the day, we're just trying to be accurate and we're trying not to get wrecked, right? All right, this is it, guys. This is where it is over. That's right. It's too late. It's Epstein. It's quantum. We're going to zero. Very interesting little thread here from James E. Thorne, who's got all the fantastic credentials, PhD, all that good stuff, right? So of course, normies will just totally buy it, and yay, he's super smart. I can trust everything he says. Very interesting points that he makes. Now we get the familiar chorus of pundits posting charts on Bitcoin, recycling the same tired claims that it's a scam, it's over, it's late, it's Epstein, it's quantum, it's going to zero. Every cycle, the same rinse and repeat narrative dressed up as revelation. No lies detected. Declaring Bitcoin's fair value as zero isn't analysis. It's a refusal to acknowledge that monetary sovereignty is evolving beyond the state. As the Clarity Act, the most consequential digital asset legislation in U.S. history, moves closer to passage, market behavior shows a precision that strains the idea of ordinary price discovery. That's right. All of a sudden, this is becoming hopium. Wall Street is preparing to tokenize tens of trillions of traditional assets. Yet, the public narrative still frames Bitcoin as a failed experiment. The irony is unmistakable. Policymakers call for global leadership in crypto innovation, while mainstream commentators cling to the language of collapse. Again, no lies detected yet. When the bear thesis resorts to tabloid metaphors and quantum ghost stories, it's safe to say the skepticism has jumped the shark. What we're seeing is not the end of digital assets, but their migration into the institutional core of global finance. Back to the 200-day weekly simple moving average, and everyone is levered and short. Rinse, repeat. And there you go. And that green line over here is the 200 day average. And what's really interesting, right? It's 58K. Of course. I mean, like we already, for me, I already knew that. And I'm sure a lot of people that watch the show already knew that, but 58K gang. All right. Well, if we see 58K again, it's going to be interesting. It's definitely going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to the memes. Obviously not looking forward to that particular fiat exchange rate. However, if we go there, congrats to the 58K gang. Again, the most powerful and possibly one of the most disliked memes in Bitcoin. Now, of course, when we hadn't reached 58K yet, we were all very excited for the meme. But once we had reached it and we had gone above it, and then we kept hitting it, it started to become a very hated meme. So congrats again, 58K gang. Your meme is still very much alive. Very much alive. Okay, let's debunk some Bitcoin security budget FUD. It's a lot of fun. So every year, right, every cycle, we always hear the same things, right? The shitcoiners, they love to remind you that for whatever reason, apparently miners are just going to stop mining Bitcoin, even though once the rewards are gone, there's still the transaction fees. I know this sounds wild, right? Like to people that for whatever reason don't actually learn anything about Bitcoin, but then decide to FUD it. So this is crazy stuff, right? When the reward is gone, let's say I decide to send Bitcoin to somebody, I pay a fee. Right? I'm paying a certain amount of Satoshis per V-byte. That fee goes to the miners. So if enough people are using the network by that time, right? If there's enough on-chain activity, then it's not out of the realm of possibilities that the fee market, the transaction fee market, is going to be able to sustain Bitcoin and be able to sustain miners. That's not out of the realm of possibilities. These guys, they don't like to think about this stuff. They really don't, because it ruins the narrative. So I think this is very well said here from Famous and Lop, 10,000-foot view. Should we worry about Bitcoin security budgets? I won't worry unless miner revenue drops epoch over epoch. And here we go, guys. These are the epochs, right? And epochs are essentially the Bitcoin's quote-unquote 4-year cycle, or we could just call it a halving cycle. Sometimes it shows up, people call it a 4-year cycle, but it's really not 4 years, right? It's about the halving. So, and that has to do with when the blocks are mined. And of course, it's an average of 10 minutes. Doesn't mean it's 10 minutes guaranteed. Anyways, here we go. First epoch, $0 billion in revenue. Second epoch, 2. Third, 16. Fourth, 46. That was the epoch we just finished. 46 billion in miner revenue. And now the fifth epoch so far, okay, we're at 27 billion. So to the people that are telling you that Bitcoin is about to completely collapse and go away and all of this crap, sorry guys, there's more and more money being thrown at it. More and more businesses are looking into mining. They're looking into how they can extract as much efficiency out of that process as possible and profit. So yeah, I don't see it going away. Yep, it's about to happen. It's about to happen, Mr. Dinkles. It totally is. Hey, Phil, good morning. I hate that it's 58K. That's what it is, right? Because, of course, the meme gangs, like, you gotta love the meme gangs, but it's the meme, right? I hate that it's 58K. Like, why couldn't our meme, and it's, again, this is just stupid human thoughts. Like, it's like, why can't that number be different? But guess what? If the number was different, I'd hate that too. So familiarity breeds contempt. I don't know what to say. It's just because it's the number. It doesn't even matter. But yeah, I feel you. I feel you. And here's a nice little chart showing the miner revenues. You see that what that chart does? Like, yeah, there's some peaks, there's some valleys, but you'll notice it's up and to the right. Up and to the right, guys. Who would have thought? All right. The Bitcoin Treasury companies. Bitcoin Treasury companies. All right. So Bitcoin miner and treasury company Cango sells 4,451 Bitcoin for $305 million to strengthen its balance sheet and AI expansion. Never forget that about a year ago, these businesses were buying Bitcoin to strengthen their balance sheet. Because you got to understand, it's not about Bitcoin. And this is sadly, this is what I said from the beginning with these Bitcoin treasury companies. This is just a parlor trick to get attention for their shitty companies. I'm sorry. I know people don't want to hear that, right? It's much easier. You listen to a guy with a suit and tie, right? And he gives you all these fancy numbers. You think he's fucking super smart. He must know what he's talking about. All those fucking guys got you wrecked. And they all got paychecks for it. Keep that in mind, okay? They all got paid to fucking lie to you about these companies. Now, let's dive into this a little bit more, because it's not just an AI investment. No. These are just degen companies that were desperately hoping that they were going to be able to dump their bags with Bitcoin pumping. That's all it is. So if we dive into it, right? So this company completed the sale of 4,451 Bitcoin on the open market. So they dumped they dumped on an exchange this past weekend, which were settled directly in USDT. USDT? Why? For an aggregate net proceeds of approximately 305 million. The full amount of the USDT proceeds has been utilized to partially repay a Bitcoin collateralized loan. These aren't businesses, these are fucking plebs. Like, this is hilarious. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just like, so guys, it's got nothing to do with an AI investment. These guys were fucking wrecked. Okay. These guys were wrecked and they had to dump their Bitcoin. So again, begrudgingly, it doesn't matter how much Bitcoin you can buy. What's important is how much you can hold. That's all that matters. How much you can hold, how long you can hold it. These businesses do not have the staying power. They do not have the resilience to do it. And of course, right, this business, par for the course, is pivoting into AI, which is hilarious because you got mainstream media telling you that the AI bubble is already popping. So mainstream media is already further ahead. These guys are like, well, let's move into AI. This is just such garbage, guys. I hate to be the one to say it, but unfortunately that is, I thought there were going to be a lot more honest actors, especially in Bitcoin as influencers that would be willing to call out these Bitcoin treasury companies. I didn't realize so many would bend the knee and become simps. It's kind of disappointing. However, that's my disappointment, right? Like, that's not a problem of somebody else's behavior. Like I often say on this show, like that's a you problem. Well, this is a me problem, right? I had a hope that these businesses would be better. I had a hope, right? And again, it's because I drank the Kool-Aid about Bitcoin. So I believed, I was like, well, these guys, they're going to try to build solid businesses, right? And they're going to try to accumulate and hold Bitcoin as long as possible. No, that's not what happened. They just used it as a parlor trick to be able to dump shares. That's all. Sorry. Anyways, let's take a look at their charts. Take a look at their charts. Yeah, it's not so pretty. It's kind of interesting, though. It tells a story. It tells a very interesting story because you can clearly see, right? Like their earnings towards the end over here are down, flat, right? So they're most likely doing a whole bunch of accounting shenanigans. And you could see way back after a major dump, what they tried to do, right? What they tried to do was they tried to offer dividends, but they couldn't afford to keep up with the dividends. So in all fairness, this is a business like many others that have come to Bitcoin. Okay, I'm not saying all of them, but many. It's a parlor trick, and they wanted to throw whatever they could at the wall to see what sticks. And this is a great example of that. Oh, we tried dividends. That didn't work. Oh, well, look, this Bitcoin thing is here. Let's invest in that and see if we can sell shares through that. It's all so tiring. It really is. It really is. Hey, good morning, Macho Squatcho. Good morning, Robbie. Yep, exactly. Right there, man. It's so sad. And again, right? It's like, hey, we get it. We're all human beings. Of course, I absolutely want number go up. 100% I want number go up. But I want number go up sustainably, right? I want number to go up and I want it to stay there and I want ecosystems to develop. Right? I want all of these things to happen. I want people to use Bitcoin as a medium of exchange. I want the peer-to-peer network to grow. But in fairness, it doesn't happen with charlatans and grifters. It just doesn't. I know we want to imagine, some people want to imagine that it does, but it doesn't. It just feels good because they're saying the right things. That's all. Okay? Anyways, moving on to the state. Illinois proposed the Community Bitcoin Reserve Act earlier this week. The bill would establish a state-run program to hold Bitcoin in multi-sig cold storage. Go on. I like this. Starting with the Altgeld Bitcoin Reserve. BTC could only be traded or sold if authorized by new legislation. Okay. Sounds interesting. Good morning, Bitcoin Cango. So take a look at this when we actually dive into this. This is what gets a little bit weird. So the state may acquire Bitcoin for the Community Bitcoin Reserve if the acquisition is authorized by the General Assembly. Here we go. if the acquisition is authorized by the General Assembly and conducted in a budget neutral manner. Okay, so this is a state talking about budget neutral. I've read a lot of these different bills for the different states. I mean, the ones I've seen that have come out, and this is the first one I see about the budget neutrality. Now, does that mean? And I'm asking this genuinely to the viewers. Does that mean that if, let's say, the state is profitable, could they use those profits to purchase Bitcoin? Or does this mean that it's going to be the same thing, but at the state level? Exactly, Bitcoin Shango. Is this just going to be the same federal, right? The Fed level confiscation where conveniently the state is just going to be confiscating Bitcoin and adding it to their reserve? If that's the case, then I think this is I don't know. I don't think that that's great. I think it's kind of crappy. Yeah, maybe. I don't know, man. I don't like it. I know that people are cheering for this, but this is the first state that I've seen do that. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't. I appreciate that, Salty Crayon. I know nothing about this, so it's just. But the second I saw that budget neutral stuff, I was like, we know what that means at the state level. Budget neutral at the state level means we're stealing your shit. That's what that means. So, pretty scary stuff. All right, guys. Today's the day. The banks and the crypto groups, they're going to be meeting. They're going to try to reach a compromise on whether the crypto firms can offer interest on stable coins. Let's be honest, they are going to be able to offer interest on stable coins. The question is, what arrangement do the banksters and the crypto lobby come up with so that both parties are equally dissatisfied, right? Because at the end of the day, that's what the compromise is going to be. We know that JP Morgan, we know that Jamie Dimon doesn't like this. We already heard his choice words to Brian Armstrong. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting. And of course, I'm going to be paying attention to this today and bringing you guys the update when it happens. Right now it's 12:30 p.m. Eastern. So this thing hasn't even really begun. And at the same time, right, the SEC greenlights first tokenized investment product exemption. So tokenization can help modernize capital markets, not only by speeding up the settlement cycle, but by making ownership more visible. Addressing current challenges in shareholder identification, corporate actions, visibility, and speed are not merely aesthetic improvements. They are core to fair, orderly, efficient markets, and the Commission should be continually thinking about these new developments, how these new developments can be incorporated into the markets. I think this was inevitable, right? The SEC doing this. I don't think we actually end up seeing these tokenized products for tokenized shares, so to speak, right? I'm not sure that we end up seeing that for at least a couple of years. Maybe. I do think it is inevitable. I think it makes sense. I mean, why wouldn't you be able to have 24-hour trading like Bitcoin, right? Like, why wouldn't you be able to do that? But it does bring up some really interesting points, which I understand about their custody, because right now, so if you're buying stocks, right? So let's say you have let's say you have multiple investment accounts, right? Let's say you have like a Roth IRA and you've got like just a regular trading account, and you've got a bunch of shares in your regular trading account. You can't just check the box, right, for those shares move to, and then send it to your Roth IRA. Like, that's not how that works, right? Like, you have to sell it, right? So you've got to go and incur that sale, and then go and essentially, if you already have the money in your Roth IRA, you're going to take that money and you're going to go buy the shares from there. Now, if this stuff becomes tokenized, are you going to be able to just simply move it, right? I assume you can, because that's what you can do right now with tokens. So I understand where they're coming from, and I'm very curious to see how they implement this. But make no mistake, right? The people that are cheering for this, saying, this is great for Bitcoin and this and that, it's just going to be a walled garden. Like, yeah, I get it, right? In the grand scheme of things, the acceptance of digital assets, the infrastructures, all that good stuff, sure. Doesn't mean shit for Bitcoin, though. This is about the investment businesses and their moats. This is about maintaining their control and growing their influence and their moats, right? JP Morgan isn't trying to have less market share. Goldman Sachs isn't attempting to shrink their business. It's not how this works. So, it's going to be transparent. This is what I'm trying to say is, yeah, what happens is going to be transparent to them. It's going to be transparent to the JP Morgans, to the Goldman Sachs. It's not going to be transparent to you and me. I mean, not that I intend on using these platforms. I'm just saying, for the average person. Speaking of Jamie Dimon, let's see. I just want to figure out how much JP Morgan facilitated, because he was Epstein's banker, wasn't he? I wonder. So look at that, right? That's pretty interesting. So JP Morgan processed over $1 billion in transactions for Epstein over the time span of about 15 years. 15 years. Anybody from JP Morgan go to jail for that? Because I mean, it was money laundering. So, it's kind of interesting, right? I don't think anybody went to jail for that. Nobody did. But guess what? These two guys, they went to jail for writing code. Privacy preserving code. Okay? So, and I appreciate it. I saw yesterday in the comments, I signed the petition. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's the least that we can do. I signed the petition as well. If you feel so inclined, please donate to them. Look, these guys I don't believe that they're getting as much attention or as much help as a lot of the more popular circle jerky type of characters in the space. But these guys are actually working on something real, and they deserve your attention. So please consider giving it to them. Anyways, guys, have a great rest of the day. It's going to do it for us for today. I am going to catch you tomorrow, 12:10 p.m. Eastern. Oh, wait, what do we got from Plastic? Hold on, Plastic. Let me pull that up. Cargo ship owned by JP Morgan Chase seized by U.S. with 20 tons of blow. Anybody go to jail for that? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's pay to play, man. You know the deal. Hey, it's always easier when right? You know how it goes. When the money is endless for you, what is it for them to pay? They always slaps on the wrist. I mean, look, multi-billion-dollar corporations. What does it cost to give away millions? It's always pay to play. Anyways, guys, have a great rest of the day. I will catch you all tomorrow. Take it easy.